Aloha! Welcome to the Dr. J vlog series. It's Sunday, February 23rd, 2025. On Sundays, we consider the purpose and meaning of life. And having spent the last several days, the better part of 10 days here in Hawaii, I thought I'd share a Hawaiian perspective on the subject. Many of you probably already know that on August 21st, 1959, Hawaii became the 50th and final state to join the United States. Of course, there's a tremendously rich history to the 137 islands that comprise Hawaii, which also include the 7 larger and more well-known islands, including the Big Island, Hawaii Island, Maui, Oahu, Kauai, Molokai, Lanai, and Ni'ihau. The exact date at which the Hawaiian Islands first became inhabited remains unknown, but there's significant evidence that the first settlers arrived no later than 800 CE from the Marquesas and Greater Polynesia. A significant influx of Tahitian settlers landed on the Hawaiian Islands at some point as well. And the net result was the blending of various indigenous belief systems, largely based on the Tapu religion, which emphasized polytheism and animism. That is, they believed in many deities and spirits, including the notion that spirits could be found in animals and objects, in the waves and in the sky. But to understand the purpose and meaning of life from a uniquely Hawaiian perspective, one must understand the Huna philosophy, H-U-N-A. Huna is the Hawaiian word meaning secret, but refers to the wisdom of ancient Polynesian cultures in general. Max Freedom Long, who was a teacher living and working very closely with Hawaiians throughout the 1920s, coined the term Huna. He was fascinated with the secret practices of the islanders, who seemed uninterested in Western medicine and instead preferred their own naturalistic healing methods. None of the traditional secrets that they had and healing methods were formally written down or codified as such, and Long sort of suspected that this must be some kind of deception, or there might be some kind of trickery involved in their practices. But he gradually came to understand the system, their beliefs, and really gained immense respect for indigenous traditions and healing methods, and eventually penned several books on the subject matter. Now, in simplest terms, we can think of Huna as the Polynesians' original blueprint for self-development and righteousness. It's not a formal religion as such, which means there's no reason that the Huna beliefs need to undermine or replace your current religious beliefs, for example, whatever those might be. Rather, Huna philosophy encapsulates a life approach based on some simple principles. In fact, there are 7 core concepts that are rooted within Hawaiian culture and provide deep insights into their beliefs about the underlying purpose and meaning of life, at least as manifested through human behavior. So let's consider these 7 principles in turn. First, we should start with Ike. Okay, so the term Ike, I-K-E, basically means the world is what you think it is. Ike is the principle that our ideas create reality, and that we can actually change our experience of the world by changing our thoughts. Reality stems from our memories, perceptions, thoughts, beliefs, ideas, and desires, and we create and recreate reality by changing our perspectives. Your thoughts towards people, things, and situations directly affect what you let into your life. And so each individual has considerable power in laying the foundations for a stable, positive worldview that could encourage personal growth and healthy energy. Or, perhaps at the other end of the continuum, quite the opposite. So, for example, you can define and redefine your perspectives by being completely honest in completing the following statements. Okay? So fill in the blanks for each of these statements in your mind, if you will, just kind of as a mental exercise, or you could literally write them down or type them into your computer. I think I am, fill in the blank. I think my job is, fill in the blank. I think my health is. I think the world is. I think my ability to receive love is. I think, and fill in or create your own statements and answer accordingly. If you do that, you'll see that your thoughts are incredibly powerful in helping you to define, interpret, and then even enact your experiences of reality as life unfolds. That's why so many of the self-help approaches stress, for example, the power of positive thinking. Conversely, many folks find themselves filling in the blanks with negative statements, or find themselves feeling trapped and or unable to tap into the positive energy sources that might allow them to alter how they perceive and experience things. So that's EK. The second principle is Kala, K-A-L-A. There are no limits. Everything is possible. It's definitely related to EK, since Kala implies that the only limits we perceive are self-made. In effect, we can accomplish whatever we like if we conquer our minds. Kind of like saying if we set our minds to it, we can do whatever we like. But wait, you mean there are no limits so I can fly? Well, not like Batman necessarily. Well, maybe, because we actually can fly, just not by simply flapping one's arms, I don't think. But we can commit to working with nature and using our human faculties to figure out how to solve problems and how to overcome natural limits or self-imposed limits, shall we say. And as you well know, human beings can indeed fly. And in fact, we have flown higher and faster and further than any other species on the planet. So it's crucial to believe in what you want to achieve in order to unlock your own abilities and realize your potential. Tap into your creative side and avoid setting roadblocks in your own mind, and instead allow yourself to truly have the accomplish or to have that thought about the capacity that you can accomplish anything. Okay, principle number 3 is makia. Energy flows where attention goes. Again, building on the previous principles, the focus of our mind determines the current focus of our lives. You should be able to examine yourself honestly and determine where you are focusing your energies primarily and how that's affecting your moods and indeed the subsequent consequences you're most likely to experience. If you direct your energies, for example, towards healing your body, then that's where you're going to see the most obvious and immediate impacts, likely, right? If, on the other hand, you focus your energies on your family, or if you want to simply try to manifest more positive outcomes or better circumstances, or even to change society as a whole, well, that implies a different kind of focus. Conversely, you might at times focus all of your attention on the negative aspects of your life, or allow yourself to spiral into what's sometimes called ruminating negativity. And that basically has kind of a snowball effect. The simple act of allowing a negative thought to enter into your mind predisposes you to have more negative thoughts. And if you struggle with welcoming positive thoughts, then meditation can be an extremely powerful tool, or therapy for that matter. But in terms of meditation, just think in terms of how you can slow yourself down and slow your mind down to redirect your attention. So meditation doesn't have to be anything particularly sophisticated or a difficult set of techniques or what have you. Rather, it's as simple as purposely being aware of your thoughts and then focusing and refocusing them accordingly. The fourth principle is manawa. Now is the moment of power. What happened in the past, of course, is done, which means that we can only learn from our previous experiences. Nothing wrong with that. Tomorrow is merely another possibility that has yet to arrive. And so the time for purposeful action must necessarily be in the moment. We can reflect on the past, we can plan for the future, but even these are actions in which we engage at a specific moment. Here and now is where we plant the proverbial seeds for the future, where we can then harvest the crops at a given moment and actually do something, anything. You're more likely to succeed when you're motivated to take those first steps right away, right now. And acting now brings power to your thoughts of change and positivity. Fifth, we have the principle of aloha, a term I'm sure you already know. It's typically used in Hawaiian greetings. And it means to love is to be happy. It has actually many meanings and understandings, including the idea of unconditional love. It comes from na'au, or your gut. Aloha can mean forgiveness, patience, empathy, and affection. The term aloha's literal translation is presence of breath. And thus we can understand aloha as the presence of life itself, the breath of life, or the force that flows through all people. In ancient Hawaiian culture, it actually refers to seeing into someone and breathing together. I find that incredibly romantic at some level. But more than anything else, it's also just love. No matter how the word is used, it comes through as an expression or reflection of love and from a place of compassion. And so aloha is a way of life that brings you, in effect, closer to your own heart. But more than anything else, it is an expression of love. So no matter how the word is used, you should always understand that aloha means bringing yourself back to the special place of love and compassion within your heart. And by being in touch with your heart and your mind, you can then understand better how the universe works. And then you're, of course, in a better position potentially to lead by example or to show others who might be lost or become lost that there are more powerful emotions in the world, certainly than hate or than despair, whatever it is that's dragging them down. The sixth principle is mana, that power comes from within. So mana refers to power or energy. It exists in all facets and levels of nature, as I've talked about previously as well, including, of course, within human beings, but also in terms of animals and trees and rocks and so-called inanimate objects of all kinds, entire landscapes, seen and unseen. Hawaiian belief suggests that mana refers to the one source of power that exists in the universe and flows through all of us and can be harvested quite intentionally. Yet, at the same time, we have to safeguard and restore our mana periodically as well through proper thinking and self-care and so forth. We've all had the experience of feeling drained, for example, drained of our energy. So there are times when each of us has to focus more specifically on ourselves and to become recharged. But equally important, we must be sure that we're redirecting our mana appropriately, because power can be used positively or negatively. Okay? So mana can mean strength, as well as the power then to influence that one has to inspire and persuade others to join in positive, self-affirming causes or actions. If your heart is pure and others can sense directly your good intentions, then that's mana. It's something that we can develop within ourselves. We can increase the power. We can increase our ability and our energy to exercise in positive ways. Or conversely, avoid exercising power in energy, redirecting our energy in negative ways. Again, each of us has to look honestly and deeply within ourselves to assess how we're using the powers that we are given. Okay? And in short, we all have power that no one can take away from us, and that we can, in fact, strengthen or develop further with time. But equally important, we have to be self-conscious and aware to direct our powers in positive ways. Finally, then, we have the seventh principle of Pono, P-O-N-O. Effectiveness is the measure of truth. And one translation of Pono is righteousness. And this would be the logical extension of our just and appropriate use of our mana. While we'd all like to be free to do whatever we like, whenever we want, our commitment to Pono means that we'll have to focus on what needs to be done first. What are the priorities? And that is doing the right thing and in the right way. By definition, you cannot be Pono by cheating or deceiving or taking shortcuts and so forth. Many view Pono as, in some senses, the most valuable of all of the Huna principles. So to live Pono is to live in a manner consistent with your most righteous and moral self, with integrity. To live Pono means to live honestly and truthfully, and necessarily involves treating others respectfully, with dignity, and treating them as you'd like to be treated. So I cannot speak, obviously, as a native practitioner of Huna, but I see clear parallels between Huna and the core philosophical positions of the great religions and ethical systems that have evolved across the human cultures. In effect, we're all challenged to consider how we think about the world and how we might strive to direct our energies while we're here. And the Huna philosophy challenges us to be kind, to be loving, to live truthfully, and overcome the blinders that most of us have, and to live as best we can in the moment with intention, and again, by directing our energies in a positive direction. And so, with that, I'll remind you that every moment matters, including those that we've just spent together. And as ever, may you and yours continue to create peace in your lives and nurture love in your hearts, and give those who are hurting a hug. Mahalo. We'll see you soon.